Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to take a sort of an experiential journey together. And what we're here to do is to examine exactly what you truly are not. This seeing what you truly are not is the foundation of the living method of awakening. That's always where we start. And we're not going to do anything different here. We're just going to start with this finding out what we really and truly are not. So let's jump into that. Close our eyes. If you're in a position, you're in driving or something like that, or busy doing something, and this is sort of in the background, then just cut this off and come back to this when you can actually pay attention to the most important thing in your life, when you can give your full attention to the only thing of genuine consequence, I shall say, in your life. So we have a dark field here. Those of you who've been with me a while have visited this dark field before. There's a dark field here, and when we notice this dark field, we can see, we can just stretch and try to find a boundary to this dark field. Go up, down, left, right, out in front, behind, wherever. See if you can find a boundary to this dark field. Can you find some place where this dark field actually stops? Not some place that you imagine, but some place where the dark field actually ends. It has an edge. And we can't find an edge to this dark field because there isn't an edge to this dark field. There is only this dark field. Now, within this dark field, that we just noticed has no boundary. Let's notice that by definition, there can be no center. A boundless thing does not have any center unless you want to say the center is everywhere, but I think that's confusing. There's a sense of center, perhaps, but there's no center. If there's a sense of center, then there's identification with the body. And the body is not you. The body is not you. The body is an appearance within boundless awareness. Because notice this dark field is aware. And there are sensations within this dark field. And those sensations seem to point to a body. But do they really point to a body? I notice sensations. And a story forms. Let's just notice that I'm not finding this. I'm making this up. Or it's just arising. I'm not even making it up. It's just happening. A story arises. That there is pressure behind my head, behind my back, underneath my butt, underneath my arms, and underneath my feet. But let's just notice something. If you did that with me, and you may not have pressure behind your head because you may not have a backrest, but I think the rest of that will apply. So let's just notice that we can't actually find the head, which is experiencing pressure. There we cannot find the back or the butt or the elbows or the hands or the feet that are experiencing pressure. Which begs the question, is there pressure? Or is there a sense of pressure? Is there a story of pressure? Is there a story of head, back, butt, elbows, hands, feet? Yes, there's a story there, but can you actually locate any of those things? And while you're trying to locate those things, let me ask you this. In the absence of a body, who are you? The body is not you. That's clear without doing this. But there's not even a body here. There's a story of a body built off of pressure points. And actually, we can't prove there's pressure because we can't prove there's anything actually feeling this pressure. What we can say is that there's a sense of pressure within a story of a body that we can't actually find. Notice that if there's sight happening, it's just of a dark field. Is what's heard outside of the dark field? Well, actually, there is no outside to the dark field, is there? So anything seen is within the dark field. Anything heard is heard within the field. We've already said felt. I find no taste to the dark field itself. And there comes the story of a tongue to check. There's something, or there's a sense of something moving behind my teeth. And there's a sense of mouth that opens, that the tongue may stick out in my imagination, and taste a dark field that has no taste. So what there really here is tastelessness. How about smell? There may be a smell, a sense of smell, if you will. Within the dark field, it may smell like dinner. It may smell like dirty clothes. Or it may be like the field here, which is that there's simply no odor here, good or bad. So are we finding a dark field? And if so, what is there outside of the dark field that's finding a dark field? There is no outside to this dark field. That means the only thing that can be finding this dark field is this dark field. Now, is the dark field based on senses? Well, it's based on a lack of sight. But I'm not sure that the absence of something is the same thing as the truth of something. So it'd be hard to say that this field is built on sight. There are noises within it, but who's the hearer? What is it that hears those noises? If there are noises, there are no noises here. This dark field itself is tasteless. It's odorless. Because we can notice that there might be odors within the dark field, but they are arising within the dark field and they will not remain. They are not permanent. What is within this dark field that is permanent? How about the story of body? That's not permanent. No story is permanent. How about a sense of personality? Can we find that sense of personality? Can we locate it? This dark field has no head. There is only vacant space. And we could say vacant spaciousness. Because within this vacant spaciousness, there are arisings. There are arisings of pressure, which lead to the arising of a story about a body, which stimulates the arising of a story about someone who's experiencing this. See if you can find this someone who's experiencing this. Just actually find it. Can you? I, so to speak, come up empty-handed, so to speak. Notice this dark field and then point out to me or yourself, point out other, please. Find other. Point to other. There's no pointing going on here because there is no other, and there is even no sense of other over here. There is a dark field, and I noticed that this dark field, that there's an aliveness to it. And I noticed that there is an alertness to it. And I noticed that this story of body, this story of what's here, it feels alive. It feels like it's here. And it feels alert. And does it feel asleep? Or do you notice that sleep just doesn't make any sense here? Notice that all of these stories, even including the dark field, occur within awareness. Can you find anything outside of awareness? Don't think, look, stretch. Stretch what you think of as your mind or your imagination. But then try to find the your that owns imagination. Is it your imagination? Or is it just imagination? And does the content of imagination actually lie outside of imagination? Or is it wholly within imagination? And the only reason that this imagination can be noted is because it is here in the vast vacant field of awaring. Notice the difference between awake, not awake, even between awakeness and the verbness of awaring. There is awaring taking place. Is it your awaring? Or can you not actually find yourself here? In the absence of any identification whatsoever, what's experienced? There is this awaring. This awaring, however, is not This awareness is not the presence or the experience. This awareness is not an experience, because there cannot be experience in the absence of other. There's no other. There's not even a dark field. There is pure awareness. Notice that it is pure unowned awareness. Notice that it is pure unowned, unknowing awareness. There is a subtle sense of presence here. You may feel that sense of a subtle presence. But I want you to recognize that there's no presence that can be verified. And you are not a subtle presence. You are a subtle absence. As I heard from Nisargadatta's work today, you are the hole in the paper. The hole in the paper is not of the paper. The hole in the paper can't be said to be here. But we can't say it's not here. The statement, there is a wearing, were we to make that statement, would within the normal realm of things certainly be true, would it not? There is a wearing. Is there anything that a wearing is aware of? No. Is a wearing aware of itself? Or is that too a story? Is the hole in the paper aware of the hole in the paper? Is the absence aware of absence or presence? Absence is not consciousness. Absence is no thing at all. It cannot be imagined. It cannot be spoken of. And it cannot truly be experienced because this absence is prior to experience, prior to language, prior to knowing, simply prior. Rest as absence. Can absence rest? It's not here. Can what's not here rest? We do not rest in absence. There is resting as absence. We cannot see it. We cannot know it. We cannot describe it. We cannot think about it. But we cannot not be it. Be it. Stay as long as you like. There's nowhere to go. Thank you. Goodbye for now, my love.